So we're here at NorthCentral Regionals with Bill Grundler. Bill, just going to start out talking about CrossFit Inferno a little bit.
Yeah.
I read many of the daily posts that you put up. You're inspirational.
Thanks.
Do you know how inspirational you are? What's behind that?
I wouldn't think that I think I'm inspirational or anything like that. I don't look at myself like that. The blog that I write is not something that's supposed to be super scientific or anything like that. I do come from a coaching background. My dad was a great coach. I got a lot of that kind of inspiration from him. But when I'm talking, it's what I see in my gym. Things that I see just as in general. I think it's funny that I get a lot of people that are like, oh, you totally called me out on this or you called me out on that. And I go, I wasn't even thinking about you specifically. I was thinking about another situation, but if it hit you somehow, then good.
Yeah.
But even a lot of the stuff, I'm talking to myself. I mean, when we're going into regionals, I'm telling everyone, like, hey, you need to make sure you're thinking, be calm and focus on what you have to do and don't worry about the outcome, worry about the job you have to do.
Sure.
I'm talking to myself. I'm being my coach voice talking to my athlete voice at the same time, but I know it's going to hit everybody else as well, So it's hard to come up with stuff every single day, but I think that it's good to have someone in your ear all the time. I mean, I have my coaches from my past. I hear them still. My dad was my coach for years and years and years, and I still will hear his voice. Whether I'm competing or whether I have something else going on, I hear him in the back. God, don't you put that bar down,
I think that's something that CrossFit is teaching the amateur athlete, is that they should be coached.
Oh, yeah.
I make my living as a personal trainer, and people find it unusual to be coached. But there's no athlete in the world that hasn't been coached every day of their competitive career.
No. Anyone to think that they don't need somebody is... They're kind of out of their mind. They're not going to achieve what they need to achieve. I was CrossFitting on my own before we opened up the gym and before I went to my level 1. And I've been lifting weights for a lot of years. I was a wrestler forever. Done power cleans and deadlifts and everything. But it wasn't until I had someone actually coach me on movement and efficiencies that all of a sudden I figured it out. I mean, there's no reason why here I am 44. I'm lifting more than I was when I was 20. But I do, and I'm the same basic size. So that's all comes down to a coach, someone who's teaching you and showing you what you need to do. I don't necessarily have a coach per se right now, someone that's specifically on me, and that's something that I want to change. But I will say that even for myself, I will reach out and see what other people are doing. I look at I know there are certain coaches that I admire, programmers that I admire, and I look and see what kind of stuff they're doing. I see what other athletes are doing, and I use that as my coach. So it's kind of a CrossFit version of, pick all the best stuff you can find and try and put it together. It's not as organized or as perfected as I would like it to be by any means. What I need is someone to say, hey, keep going, pick up the bar.
Yeah.
And that's something that I want to do for this next year, is actually get a true coach for me. To control that athlete in me.
Are you writing the programming for Inferno?
Yeah.
Okay.
I do all the programming.
I see the need for that.
Yeah. And I think going back, there's, even with our trainers, I tell our trainers that you're not just a trainer. You're not a cheerleader. You're there to improve their movement every single day and to make them more efficient, not just form-wise, but then also intensity-wise. I mean, we want them to move correctly, obviously, first. But then we want to keep them moving. And whether they're in a competitive state or just a fitness state, they need to control that mind and make that mind stronger, not just for 3-2-1 go out here at the regionals, but more of a 3-2-1, all right, I have an interview for this job that I want, or the boss gave me this task I have to take care of, or I'm at the firehouse and we have a big call and bell goes off, and that's a 3-2-1 go. Life gives you 3-2-1 goes all the time, and you need to be strong here, and that's where we get that, is in the gym.
Are you still a firefighter?
Just recently retired.
Okay.
The gym was getting to the point where it needed to have 24/7 hands-on, and I was spreading myself really too thin between wanting to do a good job, as captain and with my fire department, and doing the gym thing. So I had 16 years in as a firefighter, as a fire captain, 12 years as a captain. Loved the job. It was one of the hardest decisions by far I've ever had to make.
I can imagine you miss the people.
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, I consider myself a fireman. I mean, I still have my wallet badge, and I will be a fireman until the day I die. But what I was doing even with that was I was the physical training coordinator for our department. I help firefighters get in better shape, and all that kind of stuff. That's what I did, and I'm just doing the same thing now, just in a more condensed, version.
You said something interesting a minute ago that resonates with me, having worked with so many athletes over the years. You were a wrestler.
Yeah.
When people tell me they were a wrestler or a rugby player,
yeah,
I decide something about that. So that tells me a little bit about why, at the age of 44, you consider yourself, you aspire to be a competitive athlete on a level with anyone in this sport.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Talk to me a little bit about that. What decision did you make this year after regionals about the games? Are you going to the games? Are you going to the games on team, masters, or are you just not going?
My goal is to make it to the games as an individual, like the big show. I love what the Masters is, and I think out of all the sports that are out there, we are the only real sport that showcases what our athletes can do as they get older. I mean, they have that in triathlons, and they have that in Masters, senior soccer world championship and all that kind of stuff. They have that, but I think we're the only ones that really showcase what our people do, from young age to old age. So I think it's extremely important. I love what it is. My personal goal is to see where I fit in the whole scheme of things. I don't have the desire necessarily to see where I fit within a segmented group, 40 to 44, which is where I'd be right now. And actually, I'd be the old man in the 40 to 44 group, which is really funny. Just turned 44 the day after the regionals. Pretty funny. But I think that my goal is I want to see where I end up here. And if it's 12th or 20th or 200th, that's what I'm aspiring to know. I want to go to the games. I don't just want to go, just do anything I can to go in whatever segment that ends up being. That's my personal part. The dilemma that I have is I know that a lot of people are fired up about that particular 40 to 44 age group. Last year, I remember when they announced the date of the regionals and all that kind of stuff, all the comments were, please have a 40 to 44 age group. So I know that people want that, and I think that that's important.
It's a big group.
The only issue I have with that is we still have a lot of people that are in that age group that are competing here. Becky Conzelman right now in the Southwest Regionals is sitting in second place. She's 42, I believe. Cheryl Ross in the Northwest, who was crushing the region before she had the issue with the box jumps. She's 41, 42. Amanda Allen in Australia, was doing great. Yeah. So you still have these people that are in that age group. So if they don't go to the Masters, does it invalidate that group? I don't know. I've had some people that have Facebooked me that said that if I don't, I'm invalidating that group, and that makes me feel bad. I don't want to invalidate anything.
But you're not in charge of them.
Oh no, that's true. But part of me feels that I've been around CrossFit a long time. I love what CrossFit is. I want to help grow what CrossFit is, and so the ambassador part of CrossFit in me feels that I should be there because of that. Then the competitive side of me, the athlete side of me, is like, okay, well, you're not doing it for you anymore, and all of a sudden it's a different ballgame. And so I'm not sure yet. I still have on my thing. It's undecided. The other logistical thing is that I do the commentating thing. If I don't qualify as an individual, that I do the commentating thing, and I really like being the ambassador part that way. I want to be able to bring CrossFit to general people, and whether it's ESPN or whichever.
Sure.
I like that, and I think that I have a nice hook, especially with CrossFitters, because they know that I compete. So when I'm sitting there talking about athletes and what they're going through, what the strategies are, they know that I know what I'm talking about.
Sure, absolutely.
And so that's an important part to me. So I'm torn. I really honestly am torn. My personal opinion is I don't want to do it. I'm still undecided yet.
Okay, then for next year,
Yeah.
you're going to have a coach.
Yeah.
You're going to go to somebody, and
Yeah.
what do you need to do better? What's the single biggest area you think you need to improve in?
You know what's funny is every year I think I fix whatever my issues were on the year before, and then it ends up coming another issue, something else.
Well, plus Dave Castro may invent something that you can't train for because he hasn't thought of it yet.
And that's what it comes down to, making sure that your training is well-rounded. I like the fact that, I'm getting stronger. I'm still getting PRs on my list, which is great.
I love hearing that from a 44-year-old.
Yeah, the fact that that's happening, it give props to Coach Glassman. It's like, okay, here's functional movements, and if you're moving correctly, as long as you don't put a box on your head, it's like, I'm this age, I'm this old, I'm this height, I'm this whatever, I can only do so much. As long as you remove that stuff and you just kind of go, then it's endless. And so as long as I'm still getting PRs and I'm still feeling good, then I'm going to keep on going. Weaknesses, there are a couple little tweaks I need to make. What hit me hard this year was the pull-ups. I thought I would do better. Usually pull-ups are something I'm good at, but I've been concentrating on some other things, and I think that I pulled back on that. It's the only thing I can think of, and then I don't know. I need to get better at rebounding on box jumps. I will say that maybe there's an age thing there. The springs aren't as squishy and as springy as they used to be, but.
You have a 44-year-old set of Achilles tendons, my friend.
I know.
Treasure them.
I know, and I want to take care of that stuff. So now it comes down to being real smart with mobility, being really smart with recovery, and making sure got the fish oil on and all that kind of stuff. So my goal is I'm just going to keep on plugging away. I'm not done. I'm not done competing. I love it. I love getting out there. I love lining up in the stalls with the guys. And knowing that I'm 20 years older than all of them, and going, all right, kids, let's play.
Love it.
Let's play.
I have two quick questions.
Yes.
Who has better hair, you or Dave Castro?
I definitely use more product than Dave. I think he rocks some longer hair better than I do, but I'm going to say I do.
Who do you think is closer to being a mad genius, Coach Glassman or Kelly Starrett?
I'm going to say Coach Glassman. And the reason I say that is because, not that what Kelly has done hasn't been spectacular. I think he's revolutionized the recovery part of our movement and allowing us to move correctly. But even like what he said, he's not saying, he's like, I haven't invented anything new. I just kind of brought it back to the forefront in a way that people are explaining. So I think that's awesome. But what Glassman's done, it's a revolution in the fact that he completely turned the world on its head, and the fitness world on its head. And as a Glassman supporter, as a CrossFit supporter, you get people from the outside talking about, that's your leader? Really? He's your leader. Look at the guy. And I'm like, yeah, look at the guy. It's like Albert Einstein. That guy was brilliant. But, are you worried about his hair? I don't care about his hair. That guy is going to make me a better human by what he's putting out and the way he's training people and the methodologies he's put out. Man, bring it. And then he's just what he says is so eloquent, and how he says it makes so much sense. Genius.
Agreed.
Genius.
However, I think that for all masters, CrossFit athletes, or anybody over the age of those young years, they should be paying attention to Kelly Starrett.
Oh,
You're 44, I'm 58. I'm telling you, Kelly Starrett keeps me in the gym.
Oh, no, without a doubt. If you're going for crazy genius, that was what
that's just a fun question.
Yeah. But you're right. Without a doubt, Kelly's added a whole layer to what we've needed. It's cool. If you talk about CrossFit and the definition of fitness over time is health. Yeah. That mobility segment is a huge part of that now. Yeah. And it's going to allow people to do, to compete for longer, to stay healthier longer, to move better for longer, stay less injured. Without a doubt.
Okay.
So,
Bill, I'm going to listen to you during the games this year. Hopefully next year I'm going to watch you in the
Me
games.
too.
Thank you very much.
My pleasure.